Hola, hola mis amigos. Estamos listos. Going into round 2 here with our IOP and verbs like gustar notes. This time around, we are looking at the verbs that do act like gustar. We reviewed how to use gustar in our last video. We know that it goes IOP, then our verb gustar, and then the subject of the sentence. So let's do just a couple of those to make sure that we're on top of this today as we start. What if I wanted to say, I like the movies? I like the movies, right? All right, so if I like the movies, we're going to see we have me, our verb. Are we going to choose the singular or the plural? If I'm talking about the movies, boom, that's my subject, it's plural. I'm going to make gustan plural as well, and my subject here, las películas. There we go. If I wanted to say, perhaps maybe that he likes the movies, how would I go about doing that? Or he likes the movies. Now, something that we did not touch back based on within the previous video that's super important now, so do make sure you add it to your notes. Our IOP, le, right? That means to him, to her, it means to you, formal. It's considered ambiguous, right? Because we don't know who exactly we're addressing when our IOP is le. So we have to include a prepositional phrase. I know you remember it, right? It is going to be a, and then to whomever we're referring. In this case, we said he. So we'll make our prepositional phrase a él, right? Then we plug in the IOP, le, and then we carry on with gustan, and then the subject here of las películas. Perfect. Let's do maybe 2 more examples, and then we'll be on our merry way. If I wanted to say that perhaps they like the book, if they like the book, how's that going to come? All right, so our IOP, that means they, my friends, is of course les. And again, we're back in that ambiguity, right? So we have to give a prepositional phrase. In this case, for they, we would have a ellos, and then the IOP les comes here. Our verb, I'm saying that they like the book, in which case the book is singular, right? That subject. So gusta as well is going to be singular. And then we have our subject here for el libro. Muy bien. Question, big question. Can our IOPs, me, le, les, nos, or te, ever be the subject of a sentence? And the answer is no. They cannot ever be the subject because they are the receivers, right? So I have some students that ask me, well, el libro here, that's a singular noun, so wouldn't les here also be singular? And the answer, my friends, is pretty simple. These go together and these go together, right? They're kind of independent of one another, right? Okay, so I think that's a pretty good review. If you have questions, feel free to shoot them to me. I'll help you out as much as I can. So the rest of this from here on out is pretty much going to be just vocabulary acquisition. We're going to be learning these verbs. They work the exact same. We're going to see examples throughout, and hopefully that helps out. So the very first verb, my friends, is agradar. This means to be pleasing to. In fact, it's very, very close in meaning to our verb gustar. So we see a couple examples here. We have no te agrada nadar. So we see our subject here is swimming. Our subject here, not pleasing, and then to whom? Of course, to you. Isn't swimming pleasing to you, or is swimming not pleasing to you? We have another example down here. Dice, me agrada vivir en el campo, right? Or to me, right, it would be pleasing to live in the country. Or to live in the country is pleasing to me. Again, this is agradar, amigos. Continuamos. The next one that we see es muy importante. This is doler. And this means to be painful to or to hurt, okay? Also notice that this is an O to UE stem change verb. So take a look down here really quickly as to what those conjugations look like, my friends. For doler, remember we only use that third person either singular or the third person plural, in which case we see the conjugation of duele, right? That O that came just here changes to that UE form in the middle. And then we have the third person plural form, which is duelen. All right, so do keep that in mind. Nice stem change here for doler, to be painful or to hurt. All right, so continuamos. Our first example dice, me duele la cabeza, which is, to me, the head and hurts, right? So this is something that's kind of interesting here. You could hear, I'm sure, how that translation was a little off from my head hurts me. Now, when it comes to Spanish, if you are speaking about a part of your body, right? So the assumption is that if you're saying something hurts, it obviously must be yours, or else how would you know, right? So in Spanish, we actually refer to our body parts as the. So that's what we're seeing here. We're simply seeing la cabeza, and we know that it's obviously referring to my head. All right, so we see a different example here down below. We have te duelen los dientes. Our IOP here is te duelen, and then of course our subject here, los dientes. In other words, your teeth. Right. All right, we have a question down here below. It is, ¿a ustedes les duelen los pies si caminan mucho? All right, so with this sentence here, we do see a prepositional phrase because our IOP that was used to people being affected is ustedes, so les is what we're using here. Doler is conjugated as duelen because the things that's doing the hurting are los pies. We've got a plural subject here. So, a ustedes les duelen los pies. Do your feet hurt you all if you walk a lot? All right, and that is doler, my friends. Muy bien. Our next one here is encantar. Now, you'll hear this word used a lot. It's very interchangeable with our word gustar, and it just means to like very much. In other words, you know, to be enchanting. We see this little cognate here. So, instead of saying like, me gusta viajar, if you really like to travel, you could change that to me encanta viajar. I like very much to travel. All right. So for our first example down here, we see a él le encanta viajar, right? So our person being affected is él. So our IOP, of course, is le. That's why we've included our prepositional phrase there. Our verb is encanta, and the singular because our subject here is a verb in the infinitive form, so it must be singular, right? Okay, the bottom one, le encanta visitar España. So we're looking again at a continuation of the sentence above. So our, prepositional phrase was already included within this first part. And if we're continuing on talking about the same person, it's very normal to simply have the IOP standalone as you continue on with that thought, right? All right, so that's what we're seeing here. Le encanta visitar España. So our verb here, encanta, is in that singular form still because our subject is still again a verb visitar. All right, so something that is super important to note is encantar is much stronger than gustar, okay? And it cannot be used in the negative. So for example, I can say, let's see here. No me gusta, and we'll continue with this viajar business here, right? I can say that in Spanish, no me gusta viajar. However, if I'm using or wanting to use this strong verb of encantar, I can't use it in the negative. So you can't say, I really don't love to travel. We don't even say that in English, really. We just say, I don't like to travel. And that's what we're seeing here. So we cannot say, no me encanta viajar. All right, so if it's negative and it's something that you don't like, just stick to our gustar. All right. Our next word here is faltar, and this is to be lacking something or to be missing something, right? So here we see a couple examples. We see another prepositional phrase, again, working with our IOP les here. We have to have that. So a ellos les falta disciplina, right? we're saying that they lack discipline. Now, something that I did want to bring just really quick attention to, I think I see this habit a lot of seeing, les being used, it's a plural IOP, it belongs to they or it belongs to you all. And so the tendency is to want to make the verb be in that plural too. But we must remember that the verb has to match the subject. And in this case, discipline is a singular noun. It is our singular subject. So don't be fooled. Just because your IOP is in the plural form or the singular form, it in no way, shape, or form affects the conjugation of our verb, right? Only the subject has that ability. So let's continue on with our next verb here, or next sentence rather. We have aquí falta luz. Here there is no light, right? And we see that there is no IOP, and the reason why is because faltar can be used without the IOP. Okay, there are not many that do this, but there are a couple. So if you wanted to put a star by that or just to indicate that this is the one, it can be used without an IOP, you'll be golden. All right, so our next one is super simple here, fascinar. It's a lovely little cognate for us. It means to fascinate, to be fascinating too. And the example sentences below, we have nos fascina el baile flamenco. So we're saying flamenco dancing fascinates us. We see this IOP nos. We have another one down below, super simple, me fascinan in the plural. And then we see the subject are estos dibujos, or these drawings are fascinating to me. All right. This next one here is importar, and this means to be important to or to matter. And I would say that this word itself is pretty important to remember. It's a nice little cognate as well. So probably the sentence that I think you should definitely memorize is this first one down here. Dice, no me importa. Okay, and this sentence translates to a couple of different things. It translates to I don't care, it doesn't matter to me, it isn't important to me. So I say it personally quite a lot. Someone comes up and says, well, my assignment might be a little bit late and I don't know if I can get it in, and it's just no me importa. I don't mind, I don't care. You just do whatever it is that you need to do and make sure that you're able to take the time for the things that need it. You know what I mean? All right, so no me importa. We have another example down here. We have a Sandra le importan sus amigos. And we're talking about Sandra here. So, of course, we have our prepositional phrase. That IOP is for le. And then our verb importan is in the plural porque tenemos sus amigos como el subjetivo. Y la frase dice, Sandra's friends are important to her. The next one down here, we just simply have no importa, which is very close to the first one, but rather than saying it doesn't matter to me, or I don't mind, I don't care, it's just saying it doesn't matter in general, or just never mind. So importar is another one of those words that can be used without the IOP. All right, so moving right along, my friends, we are over halfway done. Our next verb is interesar. Again, cognates for the win, my friends. This is to be interesting too. So I see a few examples down here. Our prepositional phrase, a ellas, IOP, les is what matches. We have interesa, and finally our subject is to study. So we have to study is interesting to them. We also have an example, me interesa ir al museo, or it would interest me to go to the museum. Making our subject, of course, ir, or it is to go. All right, so our next word here is molestar, and it means to bother or to annoy. I know it can look similar to another word that we have in English, but it is nothing sinister. It only means to just get on someone's nerves, right? So we see an example sentence down here. We have, le, our IOP, molesta a usted si alguien fuma. Does it bother you in the formal sense if someone smokes? So here we see le, of course, matching our indirect object, which is usted. Our verb molesta is in the singular form because we have the subject here of someone smoking. Si alguien fuma. Does it bother you if someone smokes? All right. Below we see a él no le molesta nada. And we're saying here that to him, absolutely nothing bothers him, right? No le molesta nada. Do you all know anyone like that? Just where nothing bothers someone, it just rolls right off the back, nothing's a big deal ever. Gosh, because I am not that way. And what I would give. In fact, my younger brother, he definitely is this type. It's just nothing bothers him. It's incredible and amazing. And so for me, this sentence, I think of him. Because really, a él no le molesta nada. All right, moving along, my friends. Last two slides coming up. Our next verb here is parecer, and this is to seem or to appear to be. So we have down below, me parece que es una buena escuela. So I'm talking about me this time around. So to me, we have, it seems that it is a good school. Right there, all right? We also have an example down here. Dice, parece que va a llover, which is telling us it seems that it's going to rain. Obviously, we see that there is no IOP here, so parecer is another one of our verbs that can be used without the IOP. And here we go, last slide, guys. We end with the verb quedar. What is to be left over or to remain? So we have a few examples. We have nos quedan, right? 20 minutos. So essentially we're saying we have 20 minutes left. We also have no me queda mucho dinero. Unfortunately, I don't have much money left. We see another again. ¿Cuántas páginas nos quedan por leer? All right, and here we're asking how many pages are left, or do we have left, to read? So we've got one tiny little formula to kind of keep in the forefront of our minds here, and that is coming with this. We have quedar plus por, an infinitive, okay, is to remain, to be. So this is what we're seeing right here in the sentence above. Nos quedan por leer. All right, and that is a wrap, my friends. You have made it all the way through. I hope that you were able to follow along and get some extra practice in with these sentence structures. Remember, the key to making this a successful unit is keeping in mind those definitions of these words. And lucky for us, we have many, many cognates. All right, well, I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all soon. If you need anything, you know where I am. Adios, amigos.